Kirishanu mispotav. V'tzivahanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. 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 We need Joel. We need Joel to be here. Where did he go? Oh, okay. So if someone can pass that around. All right, just a brief understanding. Yes, it is on YouTube. You guys can tell me if we should send. No, just if we should send it to the congregation or not. You guys can tell me after seeing it what your thoughts are. It was. I think there's two movies going on. If you're a big Candace Owens fan, then this is an effing rabbi and how dare the Jews control the world and why should we kowtow to them? And if you are sensible and listen, then it's like, why has she taken no responsibility? She's extremely emotionally mature and unable to say, I'm sorry, I didn't know. All she had to say on any of these points was, I didn't realize that was hurtful. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I will go to a different way. She did not have that ability to go on anything. And ranging from Hollywood is controlled by a group of a Jewish gang like the Crips and Bloods to a moral equivalency about October 7th to understanding that you have a problem with Shmuley Boteach. You don't. The answer is not to say that he's an unholy rabbi and his hag daughter. The answer is to recognize that when you say those kind of things, those are anti-Semitic. And you want to say he's a bad guy? Say he's a bad guy. What difference does it make what his religion is? Okay. Right. And the issue of, and we've studied some of this, so it's worth talking about. And it's kind of in the time period we were in because we went through the Baal Shem Tov, I think, a little bit last week, and we went through a little bit of the movements that started. And one of the things that also happens is, and Rabbi Lord Sachs, the comment that just sort of is shocking is there's a definition of anti-Semitism. It's pretty much just accepted. It's based on these things. And it is a hate that mutates, and that's why it's so insidious. It's not that we change the definition. The anti-Semites change what they hate us about. So when we live separate from the villages, we are hated for our religion. When we get more involved in arts, literature, science, and we in the 18th through 20th century, that hate mutates and we are hated for our race. And by 1948 and from then, we're hated for our religion. And that's why it's insidious, and it's a hate that mutates. And I explained all this to her. And her reaction was, I don't accept that definition.
Wow.
So I don't know how that's perceived or not perceived.
To say she accept that
she says you can't mutate it. This definition can't mutate. It's like, well, that's exactly the point. It does, and that's exactly the point. Yeah, Alex.
Well, I think first off, you did a wonderful job.
You're kind. I don't know if that's true or not. I
kind.
certainly got not based upon how I'm feeling right now, because I stopped looking when there were a couple thousand hate comments.
No, I think the hate responses you got are you can turn it around the way she does. And you can say that she's playing to her anti-Semitic base.
Look, the one positive out of this whole thing, potentially, is I got her to agree that she would watch the 47-minute IDF film.
If she does.
For a week, however, I've been talking to her producer, give me a date, and can't get one. She's traveling. I said, you tell me where she's going to be. If she's going to be in New York and she's got meetings in the morning, I'll get someone from the New York consulate to go show it to her in the afternoon in the conference room in her hotel. We'll make it work for her. The real question is, does it help our temple, and how does it? Because that's what it's all about.
Well, those are two different.
I think you did yourself proud.
Okay, I appreciate it. I don't know how other people feel.
I'm not saying that, but you were in a no-win situation.
Well, see, I really walked in believing that when someone is educated, that they will realize it. But there was no emotional maturity to say, I'm sorry.
No, she has no. The only maturity she has is that she is a phony progressive. She still is a progressive. She has a basic hatred of Judaism.
Well, you guys can feel free to go onto YouTube or Twitter and say bad things about how she was after you see it, or good things about the rabbi, whatever it may be, because it's basically 99.9%. The Jews control the world. We're not going to kowtow to you.
Right.
We're tired of your BS, things like that.
Jews control the world. Lovely. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm having a coffee with Bruce Karasik on Wednesday.
Who brought her to come speak at the JRA?
Yeah, she spoke at the JRA and on it was on Zoom or something like that. It was, I want to find out how he feels about it, if he even saw it. So,
Does she have a Jewish producer for her podcast?
No.
Oh,
She's got no Jews around. She's got no Jews around. Okay, so let's talk about that.
So
You can
sorry,
imagine my
Rabbi.
day. It's okay. Look, the question
So
is,
you,
look,
you
if
asked-
Jews will see it and feel good about it, then I'm fine.
You said something when you first walked in about you hope you didn't embarrass. I think the word you used was embarrass or shame the shul. You being true to who you are and being as polite and respectful as Alan, right? Alan says you were. You can't bring shame to the shul or embarrassment, okay? Because you can't. And I mean that as a newer, member, but it doesn't mean that you're not getting a bunch of hate texts, but you can't, you are not being her.
I'm getting a lot more hate than I'm used to. Full level of hate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have
Someone's-
people daily trying to bring my website down.
Orlando, may I please have 8 pieces of paper? Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Is excommunication still available
A cherem?
for Jews?
It's called a cherem.
Schumer. I'd like Schumer to be considered.
I wrote it.
MG. Yes.
I wrote an
politics
article
tonight,
that Blinken and Schumer
Schumer.
should be put in a harem.
Yeah.
What about being labeled as Arab Rock? This
I can't label anybody anything. That's the problem, and the rabbis aren't stepping up.
This afternoon I was driving home, and Mark Levin played a piece about Chuck Schumer speaking in 1992, basically saying it's the exact opposite.
Yes,
Yeah,
he's always said.
He always does.
So I wrote an article about it. He has always been the exact opposite, right up until AOC got elected. Okay, let's move on. So we've talked about, Judaism splits into different movements, right? In the 18th century, you start getting these people who say they're going to reform Judaism, and then and thank you so much for that. And then you start getting some people who are going to go into the Hasidic world as well. And another movement comes up. A guy named Israel Salanter, 1809 to 1883, not 1803. That would be
Can't go backwards.
that would be a
Okay, well, that'd be a first, right?
1883. Sorry about that.
Well, he was around
And he
for a long
really
time.
makes popular, along with a guy named Time, something called Musar. Okay, what is Musar? Musar is the idea of psycho-emotional bettering yourself. It comes from the idea of ethics. Okay, we're going to leave the lights on in the whole place. Thank you. So, Musar is the deepest and original forms of psychotherapy.
No.
Okay, where we're going to spend time using the Torah and the Talmud as a base of our information. Don't write too much on the paper yet.
Oh.
Those papers will go more. As we're going to use the Torah and the Talmud, and we're going to do hardcore psychotherapy. Okay. Now, Salanter has a lot of great quotes. He says, it is easier to go through the entire Talmud page by page than it is to change one character trait. Okay. The character traits that we are born with, the character traits we learn by the time we're adults, it's really hard to change those patterns, isn't it? That's why those first years with our kids are so important, right? And then you realize you screwed up, and then you spend the rest of their lives trying to help fix it, right? So that right. So what is Musar? Musar is the idea that a Musar shmooze is to take and look at a posuk, look at a verse, and use it to get to the core of issues within our own lives. Okay. It never really caught on. It's caught on the last 10, 20 years a little bit, but it's never really caught on in its traditional way, which was hardcore. Okay. Salanter was, would make comments like, it's important when you say the Kedusha, you should go as high on your toes, jumping up as high as you can, but it's more important you don't land on your neighbor's foot. Okay. It's a great story about Salanter. He's on a train to go speak somewhere, and he's talking to the man across him in the train car, and the man says, Salanter says, why are you going to this town? And the man says, well, I'm going to go see the great Rabbi Israel Salanter. And Salanter says, hey, it's not so great. And the guy hauls off and hits him. Salanter doesn't say a word. And they get to the town, and Salanter gets off, and all these people come to gather and group around him. And the poor Jew feels horrible now, right?
Yeah.
So he comes up, oh, Rabbi, I'm sorry. I'm so apologize. He goes, no, thank you. You really showed me even false humility is wrong. Okay. Is that powerful or what? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's who Salanter is. Salanter and the whole time after him. And it's all based, remember we talked in Kabbalah about a guy named Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, Ramchal. He writes a book called, he writes a number of books, but writes a book called Mesilas Yesharim. I think we have a copy here, maybe not. He writes books on ethics. He writes a book called The Knowing Heart, which is dialogue between the heart and the head, between the psyche and the emotions. So Musar is this really powerful idea of getting in to fix to use Torah as a way to fix our deepest issues. Using what we were just talking about, as we get older, we recognize that some of the most powerful statements we can make, one is, I don't know, but I'll find out. Right? How about this one? I'm sorry, I'm going to fix it, or how can I make it better? Right? That takes an emotional maturity. Trying to get either of my 14-year-olds to say and actually mean, I'm sorry, I'm going to make it better. How do I make it better? Is an uphill battle, to be kind. Those of you who have children probably can relate to that in some way, right? When they're at that age. To say, I don't know, to live, remember that term, Lifnei Meshor Hadin. Do you guys remember that term, before the line of the law? Did we talk about that? I think we talked about that, no?
I don't know.
Let's go over it again. Lifnei Meshor Hadin means that there's a line of the law, and you can follow the line of the law and still be a jerk. Okay? Lifnei Meshor Hadin means before the line of the law, to be a mensch. So the example I like to give is from Rabbi Shochet. Rabbi Shochet tells this story. I always forget if it's a father or grandfather. That he is a child, 7, 8, 9 years old, whatever, and he's in Chicago, and he's walking with his grandpa, and they're walking, I don't remember his father's grandpa, so we'll say his grandpa, and they're walking down the street, and his grandfather slows him down, and they get home, and he says, Eli, do you know why I slowed you down? And Shochet says, no, I don't. Why? He says, because in front of us was an old man who couldn't walk very quickly, and we didn't need to rush by him and make him feel old. That's living being a mensch, right? Okay. And it's what we want to do as Jews. Okay. I went into that interview really wanting to show her something so that she would be able to say, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. The reality is there was not the emotional maturity to go to that place. Okay. Now, did you see it? Did you see the whole thing?
No, but I've seen other interviews with her. We are going to watch this one, but yeah.
So,
no, she has no emotional intelligence or emotional
So
maturity.
it's our ways to try and change how we act to believe name is short. And Musar is a way of working with that. Okay? So here's your assignment. Joel, do a piece of paper because I'm going to need you as well, if that's okay. I'd like everyone to write down 3. My phone is probably going to keep blowing up. I'm sorry. It has been a day of
When did this take place, this show?
today.
It's-
It was probably it was taped last Tuesday. It was aired
It
today.
taped last week. Oh, no
Okay.
wonder it's blowing up today.
Was it significantly edited?
No, she did not edit it.
Oh,
It's refreshed.
How long is it?
90 minutes.
It is. You said it was. Wow.
So here's what I'd like you all have a piece of paper. What I'd like you to do is be very private about this. Is I'd like you to write 3 qualities that you have, 3 habits or qualities that you have. It can be a habit, it can be a quality, it can be a pattern that you would like to change.
Oh, the opposite. Okay.
3 things. It could be maybe you're stubborn, maybe you're greedy, God forbid, maybe you're scared easily, maybe you're anxious, maybe you procrastinate, maybe whatever. 3 qualities that you have that you would like to change and work on. You don't have any sense. While you're looking, I will.
Can you give us some more ideas?
I got so many, the paper's not big.
Sorry, just 3. I'm not going to spend more than 3. Just 3.
It's still hot
Hey,
right
Rabbi.
now.
I'm watching you. Did you used to have a BlackBerry?
Yes. How did you know that?
2 thumbs. I used to be great with 2 thumbs on a BlackBerry.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I know.
Yeah. Do people who start if they have a phone like this, do they start with this? Do they not do 2 thumbs?
I was an old BlackBerry guy, and I was very adept at the 2 thumbs. And
No, but there's-
I was just
I
watching
know,
you, and I'm
yeah.
thinking, okay, you must have been a BlackBerry guy.
Oh, I was. I my favorite phones were the Blackberries with the wheel.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We all got our 3?
Anyway,
All got our 3, yes?
Yep.
And we're really honest about what they are.
Well, they're the first 3 that came to mind, but
and that's
sure
only
there's-
3.
I'm sure there's
That's all
others.
right.
Only 3.
Would you please switch places with him?
And leave our papers where they are.
No, take your paper with you.
Oh, okay.
You think I'm just nasty, don't you?
Well, you know,
Wait, don't sit down yet.
we're married, so
Would
it's
you please
okay.
switch places with him? Alex, come over.
That's it over there? Oh, I'll get up. Good, thank you.
It's okay. Would you please get up? Switch places with Joel. Would you please sit next to her? You don't want to do this with, you two can stay right where you are. You don't want to do this with someone you know well.
Ah, got it.
Sit down. Take your piece of paper.
Okay.
Trade it. 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, actually, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. Switch papers between A and B. So give it to your partner. Switch. Did you guys already switch?
Yeah.
Okay, switch. Now, hold on. Don't start examining yet. You each have a job. And this is what a Mushar Shmooze is, and we're going to do without all the Torah basis. In a very limited amount of time, from the most loving place possible, you are going to help your partner change this quality or habit in a 15 to 20 minute period.
Okay.
Now, aren't you glad I'm not putting you
After a
up?
lifetime of.
Correct.
Okay.
Which means,
Okay, we're not going to help each other enough.
which means, hold on. Can you be gentle?
Sometimes.
Or do you need to get right right into the center of it
Okay.
and get to the heart? You can ask questions, whatever it may be,
Okay.
and get into the heart of each issue. And you may only get through one, and I understand that. But your goal, out of a place of love and respect, that's what Musar is. We want to make the Jewish community, the Jewish world better. Your goal is to help someone change their behavior. You're looking at me like you're going to kill me. I'm like, I'm even further through. I've had enough of that today, just so you know. Okay.
Okay, we didn't know we were coming from
So-
therapy, but this is all
Hardly
good.
ever actually does that.
I think
Hardly ever. That gives me great comfort.
Okay.
So you're going to need to understand what they mean by it,
Mhm.
and then you're going to you can go through one or more, and we're going to only spend 15. Let's see if we did 20. We're going to spend 15 minutes
Okay.
on each side, and understand this is not about being gentle. This is about you got 15 minutes to change your partner's life.
So 15 minutes each.
15 minutes
Right.
total.
15 minutes. So we have.
You may only end up doing it with one issue.
Okay, but I have 15 minutes to work on one of Alan's issues, and then
Alex,
sorry, and then 15 minutes the other way, or we each
No,
have
No,
7 and 8?
15 and
Total.
15.
Oh, so a total of 30.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
that's what I was
total of
asking.
15.
A total
No,
of
he
15.
said a total of 30.
See, they're already fighting. So
Yeah.
each person gets 15 minutes, which the other partner, which
Oh,
means
that's what Alan-
you're going to beat
sorry,
up
I
Fiona
wanna
for
do Alan
15 minutes, and then
Alan.
she's going to beat you up.
Okay.
All right. Now,
Okay.
if you're doing this out of caring and respect and loving, ideal if you can use Torah, that's even better, or Talmud, because that's how traditionally we do it. But if you do this from a place of loving, a place of caring, then this has got to be harsh, doesn't it?
No.
Because we all have our patterns and our armor.
But harsh may not be the
So,
right word.
We
but
got to get inside that armor in
gotta
whatever
dip,
way.
gotta dip. Okay. I'm
And
good.
our armor for all of us is decades old.
Oh, heck yeah.
Boy.
Okay.
Lifetime.
And your goal is to make that light go off, and that they create a pattern, they have a different change, they make a change in their life because of you and this dialogue. This is Musar.
Okay.
Now you understand why no one's doing it with
Now
someone
the
who's your partner,
pressure's on.
right?
Now the
So
pressure's on.
wait, I gotta get my
Okay.
timer. Hold on, because I don't want to be. I don't.
Heavy.
No, this is okay. Now you understand. Before we even get into this, don't start me early.
No, I'm just asking.
Now you know why this never really caught on that well.
Right.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Because this is a very heavy about life changing.
Yeah.
About literally, and it means being honest. That's why
But
I
would
didn't
this
tell you.
normally be done one-on-one with the spiritual leader?
No, it would be done one-on-one as chavruta, the same way we study Talmud, with us sitting across the table for hours based on just one verse. What is the teaching of that verse? So we're just going into it based on where we are. But let's say that verse, right? So let's say we're talking. Let's just say, argument's sake, because you guys know about this. Let's say we're talking about Purim, and so it would be about, okay, where are you drunk? Where are you obsessive? Where are you compulsive? Where are you addicted? Well, I kind of like my coffees. Do you have too many? Okay. Are you like Esther? Are you like Haman? Are you like? Okay.
I kind of like that because that makes you think differently.
It's the whole. That's all right.
Mm.
So do you guys understand? So already, how many of you are a little hesitant? I don't want to say scared yet. How many of you are a little hesitant?
Where was challenging?
Yeah,
Eastern Europe.
it's very challenging.
Yeah, I'm not hesitant. Just
So timer.
okay.
Hold on. Okay. Now we're gonna make this very easy. I said who's A and B, right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. We're going to start with person A beating up helping person B.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
You got it. So look at them and go.
So why do you
You
always
can turn off the
feel
camera. I
like
think
this?
we're live for a while.
Do it next week.
Why do you?
We're
feel like
going to turn
this?
off the camera and come back in a half hour.
Sorry, because you couldn't hear me. But what you say, I'm sorry too often. Why do you say you're sorry? First of all, why do you feel that?
I knew I was going to share this.
I say that because it goes back to my childhood.
Okay, and what about your childhood makes you say that? Were you?
Because
My brain works in such a way. I
Was
was
there some
gonna
abuse
interrupt that.
level or something there?
I'm
Was
sorry?
there some abuse level or something
Um,
there? Or somebody made you feel
Oh.
inadequate or?
I
Great,
felt
great.
I felt sometimes like guilty.
Almost changed the
Okay.
subject.
you,
like
you, you
I
can,
didn't
you,
know I was
okay.
doing
I know. Yes, we're gonna sit back in the.
Okay. So have some hamantash. Sweeten it up. So I have a couple of questions. How many of you saw a parallel between you and your partner?
Just a little.
Just a little,
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
very much so.
How many of you saw you giving yourself advice by giving it to your partner?
Of course,
I-
always.
Oh, yeah.
How many of you feel, because none of you really knew each other before you were paired up,
Oh,
how many of you feel closer to your partner?
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yep.
Yes.
This
Absolutely.
plays on some of the deepest understandings of Judaism that is different. I always forget that it's different. Not always, but I often forget it's different too, and that's my fault. There are those who would say one of my qualities is being naive. That I choose to look at the best of people. Not always a smart move, not always a good, wise move. But one of the things with Judaism is, well, let's go back to the Talmudic time. We talked about a machlochet, the debate between the sages,
Mhm.
and that it brings them closer together. And Musar becomes a psycho-emotional mirror image of that Talmudic debate. I used to be a professor at Loyola Marymount University. And Rabbi Arthur Gross Schaefer was a fabulous man. I don't know if any of you know Arthur or not. Fabulous, fabulous man. And I was the Hillel director, and I taught him theology. And he had been the founding Hillel director, actually, and he was one of the chairs of the business school. Wonderful guy. He's a rabbi, CPA, MBA. He's got more letters behind his name than he knows what it is. Okay. And they would see us arguing, the priests would see us arguing about what should be done for a Jewish program for the kids. What this Hillel program or this, should we have kosher food? Not, because I would always argue for kosher. All the different things like that. And we would go at it with heart and passion and very intensely. Therefore, the priests thought we were enemies. Okay? In the Jewish world, we argue to get at a greater truth. We beat each other up, not because I want to put you down, but rather because I want us both to rise. We use dialogue and argumentation not as a debate, but as dialogue. Right? As was illustrated certainly today. That's not the non-Jewish world, is it?
No.
We do it, and now you see why. You are now closer to someone you did not really know before tonight.
Yep.
You have helped yourself, and you have helped them. You've helped them, and in doing so, helped yourself. Is that true for everyone?
Yes.
Okay. And that is part of the power of Judaism that they don't understand. That the non-Jew simply does not.
And now it makes me understand more about the whole idea of Torah study and the Torah, those study sessions are very different than your traditional Bible study.
It's not exactly. It's not about memorize the words.
Right.
It's about what is the meaning and what this commentator say. That commentator. What's
Right.
your bringing to Torah? What are you bringing to the world? Right. And again, it's illustrated today. That's not how other people are.
That's very clear.
And it's not, and as a result, they don't even understand it. I was just talking with someone who works with Jack Posobiec, and he was saying, she won the debate. I said that I didn't view it as a debate. He goes, you're the only one who didn't. Because for me, it's not a debate. I'm not fighting against someone. You're not trying to hurt your partner just now. It's the exact opposite. You're trying to show them so they can wake up.
Yeah.
That's Jewish.
Huh.
And that's Musar. So there's a lot of ways I could teach you and tell you books to get by Morrison, all sorts of different books about Musar. I could tell you all sorts of, but this is really what the essence of it is. And so there's practices that are, there's like Musar, everyday Musar, and Musar per day, so that you are being more conscious in each of our actions every day.
Did he just say that?
Musar every day. There's everyday Musar. There's lots of Musar books.
Yeah, but before that you said something.
Oh, don't ask me to say what I
I know.
remember what I said. I can't.
I know.
That would imply things I don't have any knowledge of.
To watch it on the video.
Exactly.
So it's Musar is the practice of learning to have these dialogues and to really, really be honest. Because here's the reality. Most people in the world don't get honest, do they?
Mm-mm.
Don't get what?
Honest.
Honest. Correct.
Do you think
Oh, yeah.
did Jewish Marriage Encounter use some of these techniques?
I don't know.
Did you
I
ever?
never
read?
know.
Oh, you never. Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Anybody else ever know anybody that went through Jewish Marriage Encounter?
Yeah, so I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry?
I don't know.
Jewish Marriage Encounter, because I think that they.
It would make sense if they did.
they
I
did
don't
use
know.
some of these, right?
It would make sense. I don't know. Alex, you want to
And
say
through dialogue,
Stop. It's about it's
Mhm.
not about, see, and it goes back to our understanding of war. The goal of war in Judaism is not victory, it is peace.
Huh?
Mhm.
Hamas needs to be destroyed, not because we need to be victorious, but because without that there's never going to be peace.
Mhm.
So this is all a long way of saying, do you see the value? Arms crossed.
Mhm.
So you do this for a living to an extent.
Mhm.
What's the difference? You're a therapist. What's the difference in this?
Well, you know, all these famous psychotherapists and psychologists are Jews. They really see
A
where
lot
it
of
comes
them are.
from.
Mhm.
As David Zeller of blessed memory used to say, I was a Jungian and then I became a chassid as opposed to a chassid who becomes a Jungian. Okay, but it's a different technique, isn't it? It's not about trying to get the long-term result by extending over a long period. It's by being so brutally honest within the context of a cultural container of a religious community.
That's the key, the cultural container. Because if you just do that with someone you've just met, there's no container. So,
But you have a container.
Yeah.
And then you not only have a container, you have the guidelines of Torah and Talmud. So what do you guys think of Musar?
Great.
Wow.
Great.
Okay, it's very powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's something to look at, and you can explore it with Musar books. There's plenty of them available, and to start having the practices every day of command. Now, here's one of the great things, and again, Musar really, although Salanter and the Chofetz really make it into the mainstream, the roots of it are Mesilas Yesharim. These books
I'm gonna
by
write the book down, but I'm sure you
these
can look
books
it up.
by Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, Ramchal. So he writes these books, and they're kind of a stepping stone, each one, more and more, deeper and deeper psychology, until the last one that the last step on that ladder is a book called 138 Openings of Wisdom. It is every mystical secret in Judaism.
138.
138 Openings of Wisdom. I have yet to make it all the way through it.
138.
It's called 138 Openings of Wisdom. Rabbi Avraham Greenbaum wrote a translation of it, and it is I don't have an insignificant amount of knowledge about Jewish mysticism, and it's way over it's, as I say, I have yet to get through the whole book. It's so intense. The idea being that for us, ethics leads to the mystical experience.
Mhm.
It's a process, and how we behave. We are not interested in being enlightened on a mountaintop. True example. A number of years ago, a guy finds a yoga teacher, wants to open his yoga studio, and I think if I remember the amount right, he finds $10,000 in the parking lot behind his yoga studio, where he's teaching, where he's working. And so he took that as a gift from the universe to open his own studio using that $10,000. And when asked about it, his logic is, well, this was God giving me the $10,000 so that I could open my my own yoga studio. Now, what's the Jewish attitude about that?
Find out who it belongs to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not your money.
That's the first thing I thought of.
It's not your money,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And therein lies the difference. Ours is action. Ours is how do you act? How do you live? How do you treat? And that is a qualitatively different theology and practice than any other spiritual tradition. You don't have Tibetan Buddhist monks doing this. You don't have Christians doing this.
No.
As you said, Christian Bible study.
Mhm.
It's a different class, isn't it?
Totally
Right.
different class.
This is different. And it never really caught on because it is brutal. Let's be clear, okay? It's brutal. Let's just be clear on this, okay? This is not easy work. It takes a commitment, just like psychotherapy does. Well, it takes the commitment with partners based on Torah, Talmud, and in a cultural context. So what do you guys think of this?
Powerful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a good thing, right?
That's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
thing. Good thing.
We
What books to
couldn't
read?
really experience the total because we don't know what the Talmud says.
Right. You're not looking at it based on a verse. Correct.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Correct.
But just
But we
listening,
got a taste of it.
That's all that I can remember.
but listening to you talk about, we just had Purim and then bringing out those.
Well, it was actually Saturday night, but we
Okay,
just
well, it's
celebrated
coming
it.
up, we just celebrated, but having talking about the vices and the other things and like being able to, use what's going on between Torah and Talmud and everything to then incorporate Musar is, it all comes back. It's full circle.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. So any other comments about this before we call it a night? Okay, we are taking 2 weeks off
Okay.
because I will be out of town.
So will I.
Nice.
Well, that's why I'm going with you. I thought, are we going together?
We'll be out of
No,
town when
I'm
you
going
come
to
back.
Australia.
Oh, okay, I'm not going to
Oh.
Australia.
Kosher
lovely.
boomerang.
This was
Is there any other kind?
Right?
very.
So we'll not have class for 2 weeks because I'll be out of town and so won't be doing that. But so is that a good taste?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to say something because Christianity is actually kind of new to me. And this is what I learned in Christianity, really, about how important it is to live right. Because it comes from the Bible. Because it all comes from Judaism.
It's all where it comes from. It all comes from Judaism.
Yeah, but that is very strong in Christianity as well. I don't
In
think it's-
some sects, but not typically.
Okay.
Not typically at all. Not in Catholicism at all.
No.
Not about living right.
The
I mean, yes, but not
priest
to
can
question
forgive
it.
you,
Okay, right, but
right? In Catholicism, priest can question you, and in
right.
typical most Christian sects, it's you want to live right, yes, and you're accepting, you're studying the text, but you're not looking at the text to use it as a tool to go into your own psychoethical behavior.
Oh, that's for sure.
Make sense?
But it has been for me.
But not for most people. That's not how it's practiced in most traditions. Okay, I wish
I
there were.
see it around me with who,
And that's a blessing.
yeah,
That's a blessing then.
yeah.
Okay, my friend Rob, it's certainly true in Rob's church.
Well, that's my church.
But that's not. But it's not typical.
Interesting.
Okay, I got a woman telling me that she's a Black Christian, and this is Christian faith, and you don't even have the ability to say you're sorry.
Mm.
It's a very different kind of Christianity than you have with Rob, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different piece.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will take it from there, and we're going to take 2 weeks off.
So April 8th would then be the next.
Yeah, that
one
sounds
for
right.
that. Okay.
And we will finish pre-Pesach. We'll finish the series before Passover starts.
Oh, I thought it
It's
went on
only
for
a few-
years.
it's only a few
And I
weeks.
feel like I missed so much.
No. Don't worry. We repeat it. First of all, we'll repeat it again in the fall, but we'll teach other things throughout the.